Humans are creatures of habits. You can get rid of your bad habits. All you can do is to change them to the better habits. Habits that would improve your life or at least wouldn't harm you. The process of the development of habits takes a lot of time, but today we are going to do something different. We are going to focus on the small habits that you can easily adapt right. They are not going to take a lot of time, but yet they are very effective. The moment I start implementing these habits financially, I started doing better. That's why I am going to share with you 12 mini money habits that you should start doing right now. So let's start with the first one. Don't use cash. It might get criticized for the saying something this, but hear me out. The greatest financial habits you can ever develop is the tracking your expenses. Because when you know how exactly you are spending your money, it's much easier to change your behavior. If you are spending too much on the moving around next time, you will be more careful before taking another unnecessary ride. And the easiest way to track your expenses is to pay with the credit or the debit card. Every transactions you record in your phone, and you can revisit your transactions every day to see if you are not overspending. Which brings me to the point number two: spend 5 to 10 minutes every night to audit your spendings. On hour or two before you go to the bed, just pick your phone, open your app, and track your expenses, and take a look at how much you have spent today. Just admit your expenses. You might realize that you have overspent on the food today. That will push you to be more careful with next time when you are buying a meal. Or maybe you have spent too much on the Uber and you have minimized your expenses for the next few days. So what you don't get into the credit card debt and the end of the month, people usually act when it's too late, when they have already run out of the money, so they are forced to get into debt. But then they repeat the same mistakes over and over until they find themselves burning a lot of the debts. Third, set a budget for everything. What most people do, they work hard some money, they might even save for the 6 months worth expenses, fantastic. But then you go on the vacations, and while they are on the vacations, they want to enjoy. They realize they have all the money they don't need urgently. Why not spend some of it? I mean, you will get back to work a week or two and feel it again, right? But you won't. So, to avoid overspendings or whispering from your savings accounts, always set a strict budget and never leave it no matter what. This is how much you set for the vacations. That's your budget. This is how much you have set for the outside dining. You can't spend more than that. You will have to wait till the next week. Automate your investments. If you are not into the investments, I mean, if your job is not directly related to the stocks market or the real estates, you probably don't have the time to analyze the companies, look for the real estate, the deals, or follow up the financial news. That's why you watch people like me who try to summarize everything in sort of the animated videos. But here is the life hack: you can't always look for the next opportunity, and you don't simply want to keep your savings in the cash because you might end up spending them to choose the few stocks or maybe on the index funds and dollar cost average, which means every week or month just invest in that stock without analyzing a new company. Every time you invest, I get it, you don't want to be buying at the top, but you don't know where is that top, so just invest every week. You will hit the top and the bottom, so you will dollar cost average at the end of the day, and you aren't going to waste your time looking for the opportunities, which means you will finally start investing instead of just watching how others are investing. Fifth, negotiate whatever you can negotiate when you are in the Walmart, for example, since the prices are fixed, and if you don't like it, no one is pushing you to buy anything from there. Never. Here are the plenty of the stores where there is the room for negations. Whether you are buying it, if it's possible, negotiate. Always do it whether you are in a job interview trying to get the higher salary or the buying a house. You might put yourself into uncomfortable positions, but might, for the moment, if you get a slightly better deal. If you get a 5 to 10% raise, that extra 5 to 10% means now you can save more money, and if you could the opportunity cost, which means how much the extra 5 to 10% is go towards in the long run, then you are just saved yourself the fortune, especially if you are buying a house. Whether you buy something really expensive like the house that cost $1 million, for example 20, 30, or even $50,000, do not seem much in comparison, but if you drive the price down to $30,000, for example, that's equivalent to someone just handing to your $30,000. You just saved yourself a few months of work. Always check the lower shelves, hypermarkets or stores. In general, have the one to go analyze your hates and carefully place the most expensive items in your eye level so that you come across them first. If you take the look at the lowest levels, the price are a bit cheaper because that's where they place the most affordable items, since they know that most people aren't going to look at them. But you can outsmart them by taking the moment and check what's down there. Usually the products aren't much different from the ones on the top. Eye level shelves at the stores usually cost fortunes, and the companies who are willing to pay that much usually include that cost in the price of the products. So you're basically paying for not looking down. Don't brag about how much money you have or make. People have the tendency to expect more from people who make more money. If you get them a little small presents on their birthdays, they won't like you. But if they think that you are not rich dude, and you barely making ends meet, then they will be happy that you even got them that little gift. I know that it sounds horrible, but that's how humans are. You are rich, people expect more from you. It's like when the billionaire donates the $100 million, people still criticize him, saying that's pennies for him. He makes much more than that. Who cares how much he makes? He donated more money than you will be able to, even if it's the tiny fractions of his wealth. Surround yourself with like-minded people. It's very difficult to live frugally, trying to get financially free as soon as possible. When your friends enjoy expensive meals, expensive vacations, and a $5 coffee, sometimes you even wonder whether it's worth saving all that money. So in order to keep yourself motivated, surround yourself with people with the similar goals. Join the FIRE movement on the Reddit, join the chat rooms, share with each other different tools and techniques you use to save money. It really helps to know that you are not alone in this tourney. You are not the only one who is struggling not to be financially free later. In the process, you are going to learn so much that you will cut your journey by the milestone. 9. Avoid cheap shoes. This might sound a bit controversial because we talked about saving money and being frugal, and yet here is the telling you never to buy another pair of the cheap shoes or in fact clothes. What does cheap or expensive mean? If you buy a pair of shoes that are going to last you a month or two, then I call that expensive. That was a waste of money. But if you spend slightly more and these shoes will last you a few years, that's what I call the ultimate ways to save money. Whenever you buy clothes or the shoes, ask yourself how long will this pair of the shoes or the shirt is going to last me. I would buy sneakers that I can wear for the next 5 years rather than buy the new pair every single year. 10. Avoid your local grocery stores. I get it. It's comfortable to get your groceries from the corner shop besides your house. You don't have to walk anywhere far. It's convenient and you pass through the store every day, but groceries are slightly more expensive than the hypermarkets. This might not seem a lot, but over the time they add add up and turn it into the decent amount of the money. So here's what I like to do. I buy bulk to get the nearest hypermarket and to buy the stuff you need for the next month at least. If you turned it into the habit, you are going to save a fortune in a long run. Cut back on sweets. The worst habits you can ever develop is eating a lot of sweets. Don't get me wrong, I like sweets too, but most sweets are made out of the pure harmful ingredients. They are expensive and they damage your health. It's okay to have some time to time, but try to cut out them as much as you can. Now, you have no idea how much you are going to save if you cut back on sweets. The most important, you are going to save the fortune on the medical bills as well. And finally, think twice before paying. This is one of the best habits I have ever developed. I used to waste a lot of the money, like some of you, and then a few minutes from or hours later, I would ask myself, why on earth did I buy that? I don't need it. I just wasted money. It happens to all of us, so I have promised myself to think for the minute before paying for the something, even if it's something that I wanted to buy for a long time. I ask myself, do I really need that, or I just want to spend some money? And the answer is quite often the latter. Try it, but don't be based. Try to think about the independently. If you haven't enjoyed this video, give this video a thumbs up and make sure you to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Thanks for watching and until next time.